Nirvana speaks the oracle, and I am saved. Thank you, listener, for memory.
Anyway, so the quiescence here, and yes, that as I look inside myself now, as I taste it, it has nothing to do with bragging. It's just I'm just observing or reporting. I can very easily move now to the opposite of what was going on. I said the full-bellied sail with all the winds coming into it, with all mixing my metaphors with the liquid in the air, the flotsam and the jetsam bobbing on the waves of the sound forms coming across, whether they're coming up in here, from out here, or I'm spread out over it and it's all superimposed on me and it's non-locally correlated and it's just an illusion. It is really Maya that I'm separated from the ground of being and from my maker, my creator and creation grounds, both. I'm trying to get past what I call the cosmological dissociation, that frame of reference that keeps doing the dissociating of what underlyingly is not a dissociated state in and of itself. But we've got the programs to do the dissociation, ultimate nature-nurture combo ones. And it's only natural that at this stage of our species development, most of us stay in line with that, thank you very much. We'd have a real freak show. We'd have a real zoo, probably. But some of us have the right to do that. The madman, and some of them who can talk out both sides of the mouth, like Tesla, can do both kind of things well. And then there are the artists and the poets and the children as unto a child. You don't have childish things to put away yet. You want to stay with your childish things, and you want to avoid the adulthood contaminators that are going to get you loused up in a sense. And yet there was a purpose to them too. We wouldn't have our whole history, our whole story, human story, if we didn't have a lot of differentiation, a lot of decoherence, a lot of dissociation, a lot of forgetfulness, a lot of veiledness, a lot of buying into the Maya. And if all of us were lucid dreamers right now in the shared dream of life, it would be a whole other consensus reality than the fact that other than little strays here, the exceptions of the rule, we are not lucidly dreaming in this dream. We are non-lucidly experiencing this dream. So we can't get at the meta level to think about and even entertain much the fact that we may be in the supposed Descartesian demarcation between the creator consciousness mind pole and the attended to extended substance immaterial center pole, that there really is that is the product of the consciousness that's experiencing it. We do create our own reality. I worked for 15 years on a book about that and never did get it finished or published, which said to me in the great cosmic joke that I had to take lightly, that if I really knew how to create my own reality, if I wanted to do a book about reality creation, it would be created a long time ago. But I really don't know how you create your own reality. And that was the way the universe pleasantly told me. You're never going to end up writing a book about reality creation. People all around you will be able to, but you have to sort of just do some other version of it. Walk your talk, be the case of it, represent it, talk about it, illustrate it in other ways, but not write, kind of the manual about it like I did about the channeling book. So here I am back from the full-bellied sail, full of the stuff, what I call this kind of open channeling, which I cannot convince the disconvinced or the skeptic is not just me talking up a storm, just me kind of maybe needing to take my meds, me to, because normally I'm not like this. I can turn it on. I can sort of ask it. I can will it. I can say, let the games begin. Come on, use me. She turned the camera on. She said, let's do something. Okay, it's time to do that. It's task appropriate. You're not always on. You're not always painting 24 hours a day and so on. And so as it died down, as kind of the spate of that activity here on camera died down, I decided to just quiet down and keep the voice going, but now attached to and trying to map the consciousness of and the contents of any of that consciousness, my own now, as I introspect, in the quiescent state. Because I told you before that I've learned and experienced it, reframed it as the uncollapsed wave function. What is the case before there is a wave function collapse intervention that differentiates localized particulates? It's the wavy, diffuse, spread out, it's not even fuzzy logic, it's fuzzy at fuzzies. It is, in a way, it is completely opaque. If I look around here, my mind's eye, my mind's ear and everything, it's undifferentiated. There's nothing going on, man. It's real boring. There's nothing there. It's what maybe some meditators would kill for it. It's very peaceful, very, very serene. It is ultimate serenity. Wonderful. I try to go there every day as much as I can. But I'm usually at the other pole, the energized pole. But capable, we're all capable of them both, I believe. And as I roam around in here, witnessing, giving word to it, partly as a poet, partly as a scientist, partly as a philosopher, partly as just me, as a spirit, using language, human language, what I'm sensing is that everything's there. Everything that could ever be said or symbolized or expressed, fallen in love with, be a lover, it's all there. Now that's a gross overgeneralization on my part. I'm being overly generous about how I'm construing what's there because I'm really talking about nothing. But you just have to really taste it yourself to know that it's not just something, you know, on a philosophy or a spiritual book page. It's actually, you are the case of it, which I think more of us could stay on doing more and then see what the fruits of it are more. If what I'm giving you on this tape is the fruits of my version of it, that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's going to look like too unbridled, too few whalebone stays keeping the waste in. We want to keep the waste in. We don't want too much mind at large coming through that reducing valve. We want the reducing valve in there for our own creature comforts, for our own being social animals, for our own not feeling we're going to lose control in the panic attacks, for our own sense we want to be gen identical and the same each morning in the mirror. We don't want the game to be too interrupted. But the quiescence now, the quiet, and the possibilities inherent in that quiet before the next round comes forth. You ask me, what am I going to talk about if the winds pick up again? What are the winds going to say through me using my apparatus, my vocabulary, my possibilities? I don't know. Or we could say, okay, forget winds, forget any transcendental construct whatsoever. It's just this guy Klimo, who's particularly creative, and on a good day it's useful for people, or pretty, or poetic, or artful, or contagious. And on other days it's just noise, it's just self-indulgence. And if that's the case, then all we're really talking about is how someone talks about the contents of their own consciousness. And when there's nothing to talk about, and there's nothing there, remember what Wittgenstein said, the philosopher, when you can't make language out of it, you can't talk about it, then shut up, essentially. Why make the effort if it's futile? And he also talked about the problem of private language. And this is the problem of the artist. It was my problem. It used to drive me mad, literally, clinically mad, earlier in my life, was that what I call how to make the private experienced world public. And of course it's going to take a translation. It's going to take it's going to take a downstepping from higher dimensionality into some encodable, actually physical reductionist, here and now objective reality world substance, including airwaves or whatever, vibrations, to then get sent to another compartmentalized, encapsulated, constrained fellow human being, incarnate one at least, to then have them unpack that in some decoding process to then be able to make, ideally to get something out of it that I put into it, ideally as much out of it as a consumer of it as I put into it. But that doesn't happen. Even in a good day we don't get that. So much is lost in translation.
The flood will come, but you must not